Okay. What I'm going to talk about this early morning, at least where I live, in Houston, Texas, it's about karma. One shall reapeth what thouest hath soweth. In other words, in plain language, you will reap what you have sown. If you do wrong in this life, you will definitely pay for it and answer for it after you become deceased and you stand before God, or you will know, even if you are not allowed to stand before Jesus Christ, you will know. But here's something I have witnessed in this life, people. People that did horrible things to me in my childhood. Aggravated assault was committed on me by adults. And I observed a lot of wicked people. They had it going good for themselves. You know, I'm a baby boomer. I'm age 67. So you figure I've lived long enough, even in this life, most people pay very, very dearly. When they do wrong, it's going to catch up. And what happens to them, even though they did you very wrong, or stole from you, or ruined your life, and abused you as a child, starved you, beat you, when they get theirs, it is so horrible, it's unimaginable. It's to where you can't, because it does say in the King James Version Holy Bible, people will pay, and it will be folded, you know, up to 10 times, tenfold, of what they have done to others. What intrigued me to make this video is something that has been bothering me now for 9 years. 9 years. It is something someone is doing, my mother, that I keep telling her, I say, Mom, you're going to have to face Jesus Christ with this. What you're doing, it is wrong, wrong, wrong. Now, what I am about to tell you all that are viewing this, I am not in need of money, nor am I a person with hasty hands that wants money or materials. No. It's because what she is doing, it is stealing. And a man that has lived with her now for like 16 years, what he is also doing, it is stealing. But these people are self-righteous, my mother and this man, and they think that what they are doing is right. Now, I don't know. I suspect she, namely, may have committed Social Security fraud of some type, because here's the deal. In the year 2014, now, my mother's 87 as of now. She's 20 years older than I am. I'm 67, she is 87. It was 2014, 9 years ago. She received from the Social Security Administration, my biological father, his Social Security back benefits, which was her first husband, okay, of $98,000. $98,000. Well, the reason I think fraud might have been committed here, because my mother married 2 additional times after she divorced my father in 1967, from which she is married to my father for 16 years. You know, from the year, well, I don't remember, I think around 1952 or something like that, yeah. And then they divorced in 1967. Well, from the time she divorced him, she married 2 more times. But the third man she married after was a man he had a ranch, okay, but he owed a lien on it, so there was no real profit for her there. She was married to him for 12 years. He bought her 3 different houses to appease her, to keep her happy so she would stay with him. The third house he bought her, and as he sold each house, she would blow it to party and for things for herself, like jewelry and a new car, things like that. But the third house in 1982, she sued him for divorce. He had just bought her a new Ford, I think it was a Cougar or a Galaxy. It was a 1982, in a house in Hamilton, Texas. She sues him for that and gets the money for the house, and then takes the new car he bought her, and she's at Fort Worth, and she would party all the time and just hook up with different times. And then she's letting this bum, scumbag, alcoholic guy drive around in that new car. Well, she pulled up to an intersection under the freeway one day. I remember this was in 1982, and smoke was coming from out of the hood, and she stepped out of the car, and it went up in flames. Okay, obviously there was a carburetor or fuel line leak or a power steering leak. You people know I'm a mechanic too if you've watched some of my other videos. I told Mom when that happened, I said, Mom, God is warning you, Mom. God is warning you. Because the way she did my stepdad, Richard, back then, she did him rotten dirty. Rotten dirty. And it's things like that. And she still lies about that stuff. Even today, she lies about it. But when she received that $98,000 in 2014, she has hung on to that money, and here we are in the year 2023. I have no copy of the last will and testament in my possession at all, because she won't send me a copy. And I know why. Because what she is doing, if she becomes deceased before that man that lives with her, she's going to leave him the entirety of that, which now, what's left of the $98,000 is about $80,000 is left. And she's going to leave him the entirety of that. You see? When he never married her, the guy is trash. He draws us aside because he never worked in his life. He's just a scumbag con artist. But she's going to leave all this money to him, and it's not hers to give. I have a sister, Gloria. She's 3 years older than I am. Okay, she's age 70 right now. Every time I talk to my mom, I say, Mom, that back Social Security money from me and Gloria's biological father. I said, Mom, that is not yours. That rightfully belongs to me and Gloria. That is ours, Mom. And it's not yours to sit on and hoard, and it's not yours to give away to some lame a-hole. You see? But she thinks she can make her own rules in this life. Well, people, here's something I know, and I'll tell you. Now, take note again. I am not lusting for money. It has nothing to do with me wanting money. But I don't want to see money that's from my father's and my sister's father, same father, that he earned in blood, sweat, and tears during his work career with the government U.S. Postal Service, given to some bum that has no entitlement for it. And it is wrong for her to sit on this money. It is wrong. It's not rightfully hers. Me and my sister Gloria are the biological children of our father that those back Social Security benefits accrued from. Our biological father. And she has no entitlement to it. It is stealing. And I've told her, Mom, you're going to face Jesus Christ. and she will. I hope I explained this well. I'm not lusting for money, but when someone steals from what I feel is part of my blood and my sister's blood, and me and my sister's biological father, that she is not even entitled to, and she's going to give it to a scam artist deadbeat and just sit on it, and then she tells me lies about a last will and testament, how she hired a lawyer for $700. She's lying to me. It says, I've got several copies here at my place. And I told her, I said, Mom, those copies, you can have 100 copies. If I don't have a copy of it, or Gloria doesn't have a copy, it's useless. And she knows that. She's giving me the runaround. She's giving me excuses. She's giving me excuses. Okay, enough of that. Yeah. Next thing I want to talk about is what I have witnessed in people paying back for what they have done. A man that lived with my grandmother when I was 12 years old, over a lie someone made up about me. It was a lie that I was supposed to have broken a window out in a washateria in a small town called Cisco, Texas. He's out driving around at night. He takes me by force when I'm 12, drives me to my grandmother's house. He takes all my clothes off. I'm 12 years old, and he beats me with this leather belt. Okay? And it wasn't man-made leather. It was a leather belt. Okay, my dad came and picked me up the next day after he found out about it. I had bruises from the side of my neck, right under my jaw, all the way down to the tops of my feet. He should have gone to jail for that. Because, see, that wasn't on the assault. That was aggravated assault. But the last 20 years of that man's life, the way he died, he got skin cancer to where they had to cut half his nose off. He got cancer in both sides of his ears. They had to cut both of his ears off. Then he got cancer in his arms. He had to have cobalt treatments. He suffered and died a slow, painful death. Okay, and you figure that was the last 20 years. You think that wasn't tenfold? He paid severely. Okay, another, and there's many more actually that I've witnessed. When I was a little boy, I was like 9 years old. Alright? This man, he had a GI cut haircut. He was short and kind of stocky. Him and his wife Sharon, they were in their mid-20s. I remember when they moved in, there was a U-Haul trailer, and they had a 64 Chevrolet Impala. And it took him 20 times to back that U-Haul trailer up into that driveway. But that son of a bitch, he was arrogant, and all he did was cause trouble in that neighborhood. And multiple times he had something against boys. He had this little girl named Denise, I remember. She was about 6 or 7. And nobody ever bothered her on the block. I knew all the other boys, the kids on 3 streets, Thurman, Lasky, Marlene Street and Glove Street in Thurman, where I lived in a house 2 houses a day. He would push them to the ground and backhand them, crap like that. He was a sorry motherfucker. And he always kept gossipy shit trouble going on all the time. If somebody, if they had their car parked out in the street, if the license plates were expired or the inspection sticker, he would notify cops. That's the kind of crap this creep did. Well, He got away with it. Oh yeah, for a long time he got away with it. It was in the year 2002. He moved from over on that street, Thurman. Him and his wife, I assume, were about age 65 by then. Okay. Let's see, they were 25 and 65. It's 35 years. Yeah, somewhere in that age bracket. But here's something I do know. When the shit hit the fan in around the year 2018, I believe he was said to be 77 and she was said to be 75. So you can figure that out, how old they might have been in 1965. But anyway, he moved them both to a town in Texas called Hye, Texas, Hye. Okay, that's where you have scattered hog farmers. Hog farmers. There's no store in this little town. It's actually not even a town. It's just got an old barn that sells hog feed, chicken feed type thing. But there's no actual stores. I think, the residents there, they have to probably drive a good 80 miles, to the, what would be easterly towards what would be San Antonio to even get to a grocery store. They'd have to commute somewhat, just to go to a grocery store. But his wife, Sharon, and she was a bitch troublemaker. She was very mild-mannered, very cunning, and she got Alzheimer's, dementia real bad. And I think it went beyond that because he had to hand feed her. He had to carry her to the toilet so she could defecate and urinate. He had to bathe her. And then that went on for 2 years, from 2018 to 2020. And then he got a medical death sentence around the year 2020, and where he was told, you have terminal cancer, you might make it a year. But somehow he stretched this out for about a year and a half, and he passed away mid-time. I saw it under obituaries on the internet, where he passed away about the middle part of the year 2021. But before he died, he had to take Sharon, his wife, the troublemaker, he had to put her in a nursing care facility, go home alone in a place out in the country, and spend what was a year and a half to 2 years dying alone. You see how karma works, people? You see how karma works? So he was paying back for all of his crap. He was an evil creep. He was very arrogant. See, he had money. He thought he could do anybody any way he wanted to, could look down on them. Okay, these are just some examples I have given you people about paybacks are real. What goes around comes around. There is karma. And not only do people pay spiritually when they pass away and they're on the other side, but they also, from what I've witnessed, they pay dearly in this life, people. They pay dearly in this life. And here's another one. My first wife, Debbie, she left me when I was 29 years of age. I loved her with all of my whole heart and my soul. She left me in 1985 because she wanted to party and do drugs with others, and she just wanted to walk away from responsibility. That hurt me very, very bad. I always treated her very good, very good. She always had a good car to drive, place to live. I took care of her very, very well. It was, she's deceased now. She died a year ago at only age 62. 62. She was 3 years younger than me. 3 years younger than me. I am 67 now, so if she were still alive today, she would be 64. But 2 years ago, she died, or it might have been a year and a half ago, she died at only age 62. But it doesn't stop there. Where karma hits people, you reap what you sow. 20 years before she died, when she was age 42, she fell down working in a Denny's restaurant in Florida. Okay, she lived in McLeod, Florida. And she worked at a Denny's. She fell down, and she was heavy set, weighed about 220 pounds. She broke 2 vertebrae in her lower back. And it affected, they had to be fused together. And she was only 42. And she had to wear a cast on her left leg because the motor functionary ability was gone in that left leg, and use a walker. So go figure. From age 42 to age 62, she was stuck with that kind of a disability, using a walker, having a complete cast over her left leg for the last 20 years of her life. Guess what, people? That's karma. That's karma. Because when she hurt me bad the way she did in 1985, she would laugh about that. She thought it was funny. A laughing matter. But, you know, it came back. It came back. And now, on the other side, she's answering for that because, see, once people get over to the other side, she's going to have to feel all of that pain that I felt. All of that pain that I felt, people. She's going to have to feel that. You see, everything comes back. Nobody gets away with anything. Now, there is, though, a solution to that, this, and an antidote. What is mentioned in the King James Version Holy Bible, if a person turns their heart and they change their intentions, and this doesn't mean if you go to a church it's going to work. Church has nothing to do with this. And you call on Jesus Christ, and you say, Jesus Christ, I have changed. I would not do this again. Will you forgive me, Jesus Christ? Do you know what? That will be forgiven, and karma will not get you. It won't get you. But it's not enough to just ask Jesus Christ for forgiveness. You must also, you've got to change your heart. See, your intentions must change. Like, it's not going to do the man, woman, or young person any good to go to a church and repent to Jesus Christ if you go right back out of that church and make up another lie about somebody, or steal, or don't pay your employees right, or get somebody fired you're jealous of at your job. You see? It doesn't do any good. Your literal intentions have to change, people, to where that you know what you did was wrong, and you're choosing to not do wrong, and to follow Jesus Christ. And, you know, I don't go to any church, because I don't believe in man's churches on this earth. I don't belong to any religion. But I'm a spiritual human. Almighty God and the Son of God, our Savior, Jesus Christ, created me. Why do I need to go to some building somewhere called Presbyterian, Baptist, Nazarene, Catholic? Why the hell do I need to do that? I mean, that's man's creation. You know, spiritual is between you and your Creator. That's where spiritual is. Okay, is there anything else I want to add? Because I didn't come over here to be a Sunday morning televised preacher. I didn't come on here to do that. I'm just telling you people, I wanted to tell people about what my mother is doing. I'm afraid for my mother. Because you know that money that she's sitting on, that she's denying me and my sister that is rightfully ours, that money will burn holes in them. You can't do that, people. It's wrong. I mean, if she needed it, I wouldn't have a problem with it. You know, for a mother that's 87, like if she needed a house, I'd say, forget about my share, Mom, buy you a house. You know, that's the way I am. And I've got enough money. But what she's doing, it's stealing. And then she's got this old guy living with her that's an ex-contractor, you know, con artist, and he's hoping she'll die so he can have it all. You see how pathetic my mother and this old man, they're pathetic. And they're both going to have to face God for this. It's wrong. But anyway, enough of me for right now. And, you know, I love you all if you do right. But if you're wrongful, if you steal, if you lie on people, if you incorporate jealousy, I don't care nothing about you. Because you're your own enemy against Christ, okay? But otherwise, if you try to do right in this life and do right, I do love you to my fellow person, because despite my abuse from the past of being beaten, punched, knocked down by adults, and there was even abuse in the school place when I was a kid, because we didn't have CPS like we have now, Children's Protective Services, you know. And but it didn't make me to where I was angry at the world. I'm still open-hearted. If you're right, if you're okay, my heart opens up. I will share my love with you. That's the type of human I am, you know. But anyway, have a great day, a great late afternoon, a great evening, or a great early morning. I also have a good sense of humor. And I thank God for that. I thank Jesus Christ for that. Because most people that were through the childhood and even young adult abuse I've been through, they are in a way to where they hate the world and they're angry. I'm not that way. My abusers, they never took that love from me or that happiness. Okay? And the same can be for you. Love Jesus Christ. Okay, man. Later. Later.